Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back to Hearthstone for another live stream recording 2 days in a row. So this will certainly be interesting. So what went wrong here is I didn't read all of the quests, and I kept this Win 5 Tavern Brawls, and Tavern Brawls is not back for another 21 hours. So either I would have to stream 21 hours from now, which is highly unlikely, or I need to trade this, which means for at the moment at least keep this. So that's an interesting trade. We have a watch and learn now, and then we have play for the minions that cost 5 or more. 20 minions that cost 5 or more. Who do we have online that we can watch? Let's start with that. With any small amount of help, this guy will be close to winning. Unfortunately, it seems like he's close to losing. Although he is ranked 13, so I really have no ground to stand on, since I can barely get to rank 19 myself. So he may pull out some tricks. Let's look at his cards. Let's see. Destroyer, Pirate, draw a card. Seems like Shadow Step and drawing cards. He's looking for something. I imagine that, and here's a preparation. He's looking for some kind of combination of cards. Yeah, combos. Like, what does he have? Something like Reno Jackson? Oh, he's got a quest. For the rest of your game, your minions are 5/5 with Crystal Cave. And what was required to do Crystal Cave? It's like play 4 minions of the same name. Well, he's ready. So preparation, which I think let him play it for 3, 2. Well, he's down to 2 though, so is he gonna win this?
Excuse me, you are on fire.
See, I can't right click and well play anything. So there's a couple of people. Loki got back on the chat last time and we had a nice chat, lots and lots of comments. I love that Loki comments so much. It really helps. He got in a little late, so it took a while for that stream to start gaining some more viewers. With me gaining more viewers, I've recently gotten a lot of spam comments too, but that's kind of a good thing. It's not a great thing, but it at least means that somebody's taking notice. Travis, I believe, wanted to play me on the weekend, and anytime I'm online, I'm more than willing to accept any friendly challenge from anybody. There might be a few occasions where I might have to decline, or somebody, or I might ask them to wait. But in general, now that you can get daily quests done with friends, I would much prefer to do it with friends. And I'm perfectly happy to help friends get their daily quests done too. Although this is a live stream, so if it gets down to the point where there's 100 people that want me to help them get their daily quests done, and that might be an extra large amount of hours that I can't commit to it. But yeah, Travis wanted to play on the weekends. Some weekends I will stream, some weekends I won't. We're messing up the schedule here. If I get one watch and learn done in today, then and that's it. Then I'll be back in 2 days. If I get both of the daily quests done today, then I'll be back in 3 days probably. I suppose there's no real reason to hide it from my fans since all of this, but this week is kind of an odd week anyways, because tomorrow I'm having an entire bed frame delivered, which will be
Excuse me.
possibly the largest thing I've ever had delivered. It's coming by freight. The second largest thing I would imagine I had was I bought a long time ago a 65-inch rear projection TV when they were really big and really heavy. So I don't know if it's going to come in pieces. I would prefer it come in pieces instead of being a fully assembled thing, because it's going to be a nightmare to move into place if it's fully assembled, and it's going to be big and painful to install it at all. Ironically, I've bought this adjustable bed because I've been having back pain, and to try to alleviate the back pain, I'm going to end up probably hurting my back trying to install this in place. But that's almost assuredly going to be a whole day's worth of work that's not centered around recording YouTube videos, and so that I'm trying to dance around that and not have to stream on that day, which by all odds that will be the case. Now, this doesn't mean that I plan on streaming from my bed, because my recording studio is in my bedroom. It's doing double duty, which is not good. Everybody says it. Don't have TVs, don't have video game consoles, don't have computers in your bedroom, just have a bed and nothing else so that you don't get distracted. But I've been living with a TV in my bedroom for most of my life, and frankly I've trained myself to not sleep in silence. So if I hear quietness, I'll hear noise through the walls, on the streets several blocks away, and then that is a inconsistent noise that would wake me up. Of course, having all the distractions probably does lead to my insomnia. And I suppose if I totally ruined my back to the point where I couldn't get out of bed at all, or it was just incredibly painful, I might stream, but it's hardly my desire. That would make me sound very bad. Lying down gives you a very weak sound to your voice, not very much air behind it. It's not a good way to go, certainly, if I can avoid it. And the irony is that the adjustable bed frame is about 5 times more than the mattress that's going to go on top of it, as far as cost. But whatever, maybe that just means I got a good deal on one thing and the other I paid normal price for. Still looking at the Steam summer sale, and I watched Total Biscuit's recommendations on top 20 games that are on sale for the Steam summer sale. There's kind of a slight issue with what he's recommending, because it's probably the same games he recommended the year before. So I would say, if I was to do a similar thing, which I haven't spent the energy to do, and it's very specialized because it's like, well, if you haven't bought any games on Steam whatsoever, you should buy these first. But if you have say 300 games on Steam already, and they're the top 300 that everybody has, then here are the hidden gems. There's just going to be different answers for each individual person. Philbiscuit said that you should pick and choose the Valve games instead of getting the Valve Complete bundle. I got the Valve Complete bundle, but then again, I'm just trying to get everything. Come on, Cold Breezy, win! I need you to win! Is there anybody else online? When was Loki last online? 12 hours ago when I was playing them. So Total Biscuit said Transistor. Personally, I didn't think Transistor was a fun game. I didn't like its gameplay mechanic compared to Bastion. And the story itself was a little light. I would have preferred them to tell the same story in a different gameplay mechanic, honestly, and tell me more of it. A lot of his other things, easy to agree with, though. Nothing outright shocking. I think there was one game he mentioned that I'd never heard of, but that's not really anything to be too surprised about. Obviously, I've probably missed one or two games out there. As I go through the discovery queue, I'm seeing a lot more a lot more games that are relatively new and have no reviews that look good. I still feel like the discovery queue cannot distinguish between wishlisting a game that's a visual novel that has full voice acting and one that doesn't. So I get a lot of recommendations for visual novels that don't have full voice acting, and even the ones that I do wishlist that say they have full English audio, I don't know if I really believe them. I think that there are ways to cheat there. They might have full audio, full English audio in the cutscenes, but you still end up reading a lot. And I just don't have a solution for that, really. It would be cool if there was a on-screen reader app, something out that I could hold down like Control, draw a box around the text on the screen, and then the Windows text-to-speech function would just do it and write it there. But even if I turned on Windows text-to-speech and tried that on a visual novel, almost certainly all of the text is just drawn as a picture and not actually letters that you could copy and paste, so I don't think any of that would work. I would more than likely have to spend a significant amount of money for one of the readers that blind people carry around with them, and those are specialized medical devices. It's a little box that they can put in front of text, and then it will read it out loud, and usually they're not very good. And then I would have to take that box and put it in front of my monitor. But yeah, if there was some way I could turn a visual novel into into fully voiced, I would cover so many more. But as it is, that's a whole series of games and style of games that keeps getting suggested to me, and I'm like, well, I can't really cover it. Like visual novels, MMOs, co-op only games. Those are the 3 games that my channel right now could never cover. Just because I don't have the right things I would need. Like, if I was somebody like PewDiePie, somebody with hopefully he has a few $1 million to play with, I would hire a team and then have them voice act things. Kind of, I guess, how the Nostalgic Critic reenacts movies instead of using clips of movies, because he's been copyright stricken so many times. Which I guess that works. So if he could just play this. So he's getting everybody on the field ready. Next turn, if he played this, he could do 25 damage and play this and do 30 damage. Crystal Cave versus Crystal Cave. And I know this stream has been going for a while and I haven't actually personally played anything. Sorry about that, but that's a watch and learn for you. Like, it's not very streamer friendly to have a daily quest where you just watch somebody else play.
You like my invention?
Alright. You do another 10 damage. Neither one of them seem to be caring about using the Wicked Knife. If you could just... Could you do this? He can win here. All he has to do is play this, attack with this, play this after this is attacked, and then return him. Then play him again and attack again. But does he not see it? Come on, attack with this. And he didn't do it right. What did,
I hope you like my invention.
he could have won right there. Well, equip this. He got lucky, but he had a way to win already. Like, if you bring back the Stone Tusk War, unless I'm completely wrong, you can attack a second time. Well, whatever. We've got our thing done. There's our watch and learn. We get a card pack done. Boy, does my monitor look dark right now. I think what happens is my TV switches between full and limited range, and I don't know if it really changes the recordings. And play 20 minions that cost 5 or more. Let's see, we've got nobody to play, but we are gonna play something. So 5 or more. Do I have a 5 or more, or do I just have the 8+? I think I just have the 8+. So can I play? Nope. What am I at on this? Rank 23. I guess I may end up on standard at rank 23. We'll see if I fall any further behind there. 8+. That's what we're gonna do. And we might as well play ranked. I didn't really look at the news or anything because I figured this would be a shorter stream. Ah, the Secret of Monkey Island aired today. It's kind of funny that I'm as surprised as anybody else when a new series airs, because the one thing that I don't do is I don't memorize the dates of when I've scheduled things. So I'll often see like, oh, okay, so we've moved on past this previous thing that I was doing, and we're now on to the next game.
Great outdoors.
So here's my 8 plus with a 3-to-1 victory ratio, which I don't know if this is, if I just got lucky, or if this is going to turn into something with a higher win ratio than it probably should have. But all we need to do is kind of play all the cards, not win. I'd like to win, but I need to get 20 of these done. And there's probably 20 here in one game. But I'm not going to play them all unless this guy decides to be extremely cooperative. It's probably intentionally scheduled this way, but you might want to take notice that there's no massive amount of games being announced right now. Seems like maybe between E3 and Gamescom, or just a few weeks after E3, it goes very dead. That's fine by me. It's probably bad for the video game companies, though. In all honesty, if I was releasing a game, I would try to announce it and release it right now. I've also realized I say a lot. I'm not even registering it. So particularly on Hearthstone, I hope I'm not saying it when I'm doing the more laid-back commentary on the other games, but I might be.
For the wild.
I wish I wasn't doing that. I wish I was just going quiet, but it seems like I've picked up an unconscious vocal tick on top of the many ones I do recognize. And everybody has them. But as a YouTuber, I try to not... I'd hope to be able to train myself away from that. I'm happy at least I don't go, and just drag it out. And that's a small thing, I guess I can be happy.
For the wild.
So here's the main flaw of this deck, is staying alive long enough to play something.
The feast of souls begins now. Well met.
Probably should have this guy in my hand. Let's see. This in the turn. That might keep me alive long enough to play 2 more. Nope. It didn't. Well, we played 1. Gotta keep going, I guess. So yesterday I spent most of the day avoiding playing Broken Sword 5. I'm just at the beginning of it, but I've already run into some major issues with the game. In fact, the entire Broken Sword series has just been a major disappointment, which is odd because I liked playing Broken Sword 1 and 2, the original versions of the game, but the remasters change everything, and you lose a bunch of things you would like to have. And Broken Sword 5 tries to get back to the originals a little bit, but fails at it because it gives you these 3D animated characters that look fine, but they stand out incredibly awkwardly against the beautiful, what looks like hand-painted, hand-digitally painted backgrounds that are completely 2D and really do look like the original game. Wow, he's doing the same thing. Well, I'll see you and raise you and astral community.
Spectacular.
We've got the same deck. I think they match people up sometimes based on the cards they have. Either that or there's just some weirdness going on. Come on, you have 10 mana. You couldn't play one card? Alright. Let's go and squelch this guy. I don't need spectacular every single time. And then... Excuse me. I tell you, when I record, I usually record, I usually cough or drink something before I start recording, and if you heard that in the microphone, it would be really, really disgusting sounding. I guess I was just born with a particularly nasty sounding cough, and it only sounds worse when I'm sick.
My dream ends. Your nightmare begins.
So I'm gonna try and just keep playing cards. The other problems I've noticed though with I'd like to play 2 of these. Let's see.
Ah, the great outdoors.
For the wilds.
Sleep.
The other problem with Broken Sword is that the first hour and a half, maybe even an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours of the game, you're locked into what is effectively just one street corner, 3 tiny scenes, and then you walk. Let's see.
What
Minions, servants, soldiers of the cold of Kel'Thuzad.
And didn't gain an empty mana crystal for that though.
Ah, the great outdoors.
Use that excess mana. It's weird that the druid and the warlock both have extra things they get if you draw extra cards. Where the druid is kind of the only one that could get excess mana, and the warlock can get worthless imps if he's told to draw a demon from his deck and he doesn't have any. Well, we're not making a massive amount of progress here, but I did get a victory, and that certainly counts for a little. So yeah, you're stuck in this small area for way too long. I hit one puzzle in Broken Sword 5 already where you have this broken neon light and you can move the letters around, and it just doesn't tell you what you're supposed to spell, and so you have to use the hint system. And I'm not a real fan of having to use the hint system so early in the game, but I've had to do it multiple times.
Job's done.
So it's a slight spoiler. Moving around the letters, I was able to spell Aladdin's, and it said no because there's not two of the shopkeeper that you're trying to spell a name for the shopkeeper. It's a new shop. So it said no, and I only kind of bumbled my way into spelling Aladdin's because you spell Aladdin with two L's, but you can also apparently spell it with one L, or I don't even know how I did it. And then I spelled out Saladin, who is the guy who conquered Jerusalem, and they made mention of that, and they go, no, that's not right. And I'm like, oh, so there's several wrong ways you're going to make mention of, but you're not going to give me any help. And so finally I just had to use the hints, and it's like, no, spell Aladdin this way. And they did give some decent hints that that's what you were trying to do, but they didn't tell me how to spell it. And that's asking a little bit too much. Like, in a spelling puzzle, I kind of need the spelling somewhere. The appropriate way would have been for somebody in the conversation to say Aladdin over and over again when you ask certain questions, because there's always text on screen, then you would see the spelling, or for the game to simply have a bunch of books on a bookshelf. And since this is a shop, it wouldn't have been that odd if you just had a bookshelf with several books and on there, like Alice in Wonderland, Aladdin, and the 40 yeah, it's Aladdin and the 40 Thieves. Isn't that the name of one of the stories? And just keep going down that way and have several books and several different options. Let's see. Discard my entire hand.
For the wild.
Get rid of this guy. And so that was frustrating. There's a item you can click on that just says stretch goal because it was a Kickstarter game and it seems to do nothing. So apparently there was a stretch goal they were going to have in the game, and instead of just having it be an object that you can't click on, or it has no comment, it should just be one of the many objects in the game that you just don't get the magnifier on there. They specifically pointed out that they been given more than the $800,000 that they were given, which is double what they were asking for, they would have been able to have yet more content. And inherently, that's why I don't like the idea of of crowdfunding games and letting the player know that there's content that could have been there, but it's missing because, well, it's why I don't like the stretch goal part of crowdfunding games. In general, I don't like the idea of crowdfunding games for many different reasons, but yeah, that feels mean-spirited to have it in the final product and go, oh man, if you'd just given us $1 million extra. And they only spent $500,000 on development of the game before they asked for more, and they were planning on making a much smaller game and expanded. So they were in many different ways planning on ripping off the player in a sense, even before they finished development, because they were going to sell us a tiny product. And the game's only 10 hours in its final version anyway, so if the Kickstarter hadn't gotten any money, you're probably looking at something that would have been less than 5 hours. And the game already feels too small. Small in locations and small in concepts. Badly thought out puzzles. An incredibly difficult puzzle to figure out how just to get a cup of coffee from a cafe. Like,
I will fight with honor. I must protect.
There's no hints towards that at all. So I spent 20 minutes trying to get a cup of coffee from a cafe server, cafe owner, whatever, and the game really gave you no hint at all as to how you would actually do that. Alright. This plus this plus this. This and that, and then the turn. And let's see. Then the ultimate sin for a point-and-click adventure was committed in the game. It's funny, in all honesty, I've probably only played 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours of the game. And I've already found so many problems with it. Well, that didn't help. But then the ultimate sin happened, where I was given a puzzle that required me to click on something that I could not see on the screen. And this game had been... Broken Sword 5 is made to be played on like an iPhone, maybe an iPad. Maybe it doesn't actually work on an iPhone, and that might explain a few things. But there's at one point this incredibly hard to see black book that has no outline whatsoever, that just blends in with the background, and you're supposed to distract the person who is holding the black book, so they put it down, and you don't see an animation of them picking up or writing in or in any way even interacting with the black book. In general, Broken Sword 5 is missing animations completely. People will take things out of their pocket, show it to somebody else, and there's nothing in their hand at all. There's one animation. Ooh, this will be interesting. If you control these two at the end of your turn, merge them into the ancient one. No, don't kill it. I've never gotten the ancient one. Oh, darn it.
Pain, speak to me.
For
the wild.
So yeah, you just couldn't see it, and that's the problem with so many bad point-and-click adventures. Is it's point and click. It's not hunt around the entire screen, seeing if there's a single pixel somewhere you're supposed to click on. Let's start a 2-2 transwitch taunt. Darn it. I was hoping to make this a little bit cheaper, but I need this still to be above 5 towards our goal. I wish there was a better way to...
Naturally.
Let's see.
You're in trouble
8.
now.
And then I can do this. And then I can do this. And then I can do this.
The great outdoors.
Job done.
And then we can end the turn. Yeah, I wish there was a better way to get people on board, like to let them know I'm streaming. But frankly, there kind of is no way, because it just comes down to, can people actually pull up YouTube and watch the stream, or do they want to? And eventually, if my channel grows and grows and grows, which I would like it to, I will have a few thousand, if not hundreds of thousands of people subscribed, and a percentage of those who are available at a specific time will be able to come on and comment and interact. But until that happens, I can only hope on the small number of super fans to get on the stream and comment and interact. I do want more of that interaction, though. It is not something I originally wanted, or even thought I wanted. As you probably can tell, most of my series still are pre-recorded, and it is a more laid-back experience. I don't feel like I have to talk constantly as much as I do here. And it is rather distracting trying to play Hearthstone and chat with people and win and get daily quests done. The win ratio 5-3. It's still kind of high. But once it started happening, it certainly started feeling like something that I should have done earlier. I don't know how much earlier I could have actually streamed. And for me, it's not, I'm not getting into streaming, at least on the front end, because it gets me super chat money, because I'm not eligible for super chat. You have to have 500 subscribers before that happens. I only have slightly above 150. When that becomes a thing, I will opt into it, but if you can opt into it, it may very well be mandatory that you have to get into super chat.
For the wild. Job done.
This isn't a terrible hand to discard for Astral Communion. Although I hate getting rid of this guy, because he can get me 2 people summoned in 1 turn. 2 10-mana characters. Let's see.
The great outdoors.
Job done.
I've now gone about 45 minutes, and that's what I was hoping this entire stream would be. This wasn't going to be a long one. So if I could get 9 cards played in this game, that would be nice, but there's a limiting factor happening here, in the sense that once I start putting more and more of these guys here, I either win by hitting people or I win by I win by the opponent getting concerned and conceding, losing hope. He's pretty much almost as fast as I am because he's been playing these things. And he went from a 3-3-3 to a 4-4-4, and that's when the Jade Golems take on the second appearance. And I think they might have a third appearance even. I would like Deathwing right now. That would help. But this will probably help too. After I finish Broken Sword 5, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. But I do know for the point and click series, once Broken Sword 5 is done, we're done with the Broken Sword series, we can go back to a few of the Telltale series that I've either gotten since then, or I can try to change the point and click time slot completely. I was eventually going to point it towards games that are of that similar timeline, but maybe full motion videos, FMV games, which are kind of like point and clicks but have a slightly different feeling. I kind of bled by putting Monkey Island in the kids time slot. I've kind of got too many point clicks going on per month, and since I know that I've got a lot more stuff to do. So this is probably won the game for me.
I concede. Go play.
I'm very surprised this deck wins. How many more do we need to do? 5 more. Like, I don't think I could go all the way. I don't think I'm gonna get to rank 13 with this deck, but it seems to win. Which is, I guess, a testament to legendaries. Yesterday, Loki suggested I make a request to Ben Brode, who is the game designer of Hearthstone, apparently. I did have him and was following him on Twitter, but I follow so many people on Twitter, to know somebody by name is not likely to happen. So yeah, I made the suggestion and tweeted right after he said that, but the suggestions were merge the different accounts, which probably they can't do for some weird legal reason, or they at least think they can't do for some weird legal reason, and just make all the cards gold or normal, which there's a good argument to do that, but the reason they don't want to do that is simply because they want to be greedy. The good argument to to get rid of everything and just make all the cards gold is the fact that when you have this instance of Criterion who's been playing, saving up his extra cards for 3 years and spends $150 on average in card packs every expansion, he still does not have all of the legendaries in gold, and that's his main goal, is to have legendaries in gold. So you effectively have the biggest whale. He's probably not the biggest whale, and a whale is what they call somebody who spends a lot of money on free-to-play games, and he still can't get a complete collection, and he's a streamer, so people can see that he doesn't have a complete collection. And when he pushed the button to turn all his extra cards into dust, he was able to get over 600,000 dust, and he still didn't get a complete collection. You've made it, it becomes really, really obvious that, frankly, practically nobody can have a complete collection in gold. And it shouldn't be that. The scale should be way shifted further back. Like, any streamer that's streaming every single day on Hearthstone, and has been for many, many years, at this point, should be at the max. There should be no more gold cards for them to get. And that's just not the case of what's happening. So that they got too greedy with it. And it would be incredibly kind if they just said, you know what, the gold thing is nothing but greed anyways. I could see giving gold cards to people who have won 500 ranked games. That's when you get the gold version of a character. So each character has to win 500 ranked games. Some of them I don't think I've done it with anyone except for the mage. Let's go back and see. But yeah, you can't even see here. You have to see over here. Mage, 391 wins. So I haven't done that in gold. I haven't done it with any of them. The Paladin has 465 wins, so when he gets 45 more wins, which I've been playing for probably 3 years at this point, this guy only has, I think, is that 130 or 330 wins? Probably 330. But it's an incredible amount of ranked wins you have to get to make your character goal. But if you reached that goal, I could see them then saying, alright, all your cards are gold. But right now, how it's set up, this just makes the frame around your hero gold, not any of the cards. And in all realisticness, just turn it all off. Just say, click this box if you want all your cards to be gold, click this box if you want all your cards to be normal. Just that simple. Stop having this false division. It's like the cheesy things car salesmen do. It's like, do you want the chrome rims on your car for an extra $1,000? Do you want the leather seats for an extra $2,000? It's like, it's a ripoff. I've got both of these. I'd hate to get rid of them, but I'm going to have to, aren't I? One of these days, I will get to play the ancient one. I don't even know what the ancient one does. That is another problem with this card game, is that you just can't like right click and see what the ancient one is while you're playing, or even in the
That's incredible.
manager, the collection manager. You can't see what the ancient one does. So you have to go off to some Wikipedia site to look it up online somewhere, which is not helpful. Speaking of not helpful, the OBS Studio still has the same bug where it messes up recording the Hearthstone deck tracker overlay, which sucks. So that's one. We've got 4 more to do. And why does my thing flicker?
Are you my master?
Let's see. Let's do a little experiment while I've got this on. I'm gonna move the mouse this way and turn off the Hearthstone tracker overlay, and then move the mouse back this way. And I'll probably have to look at the recording first, but I'll see if this makes the mouse stop flickering. Nope, it doesn't. So it's not the Hearthstone deck tracker overlay that makes the mouse flicker.
Cthulhu is my shield.
Turn that back on. And then game capture. Properties. Limit frame rate. Oops.
What to do? Who dares defy this ancient?
Let's see, what do we want to do?
That's not a valid target.
Well, I'll go ahead and kill that one. With that. So is my mouse flickering now? Well, I think I got it. There's this odd thing. I have it set to record 60 frames per second in general. And there's this odd thing about Hearthstone in particular, since it's set to above 1080p resolution and then re-rendered back down. So it's actually supposed to be better resolution according to the NVIDIA experience.
That was a mistake.
Or maybe it's just a frame rate issue. It would seem like it's the frame rate issue alone. But if I can limit the frame rate and we can get that flicker fixed, that would be nice. Because yes, I've noticed it. Other people have noticed it. I thought I clicked that button before. But settings, like I was saying before, in OBS Studio seem to not want to save or stay the same. It's not a huge issue, but it's a pain in the butt to have the software that you are relying on not be reliable. Same is true with the OBS WebSocket new plugin for OBS Studio, how it's not reporting things the way I kind of need it to report, even if it is doing it right. The main problem there is they just don't have an Android client or a web client that actually works for recording. So if the replacement OBS WebSocket plugin that they're working on wanted to make their own client, I would gladly use that client and stop using the already existing client that looks great and works fine for everything else, or at least seems like it does. All I really need to know is, am I recording, has it started recording, and how long have I been recording?
Naturally.
Let's stretch this out. Because I don't want to have both monitors on when I'm playing a lot of games. A lot of games mess up in full screen. That's another thing that's messed up and weird about Broken Sword 5 is Revolution Software has no idea how to program computer games these days. Like, the 3 resolution options are full screen 1, which uses some weird function that just asks the computer's video card what resolution it wants to be at. Full screen 2, which just sets it to a resolution and does aspect ratio correction. And full screen 3, which just stretches it without aspect ratio. Or maybe full screen 2 does what full screen 3 is, because none of that's explained anywhere on the game. It's just a comment that was made in the Revolution Software's forums, and that's the only setting it has. Also, the game is set with the limited color range that you would have on old TVs, so it's incredibly dark on a computer screen. Effectively half as bright, and there's no brightness, no contrast, no settings in it at all.
The great outdoors.
So just like total failures, things I have never seen done wrong in a computer game, they somehow managed to do wrong. Which they don't have a master volume in the volume. Tiny nitpick there, but still an issue. The audio is not balanced to 50%, which is something a lot of games do. Like, whatever the score is, however you balance it inside the game, whether the speech is always 75% and the music is always at 50%, that's fine. But when you give those controls over to a player, those sliders should start at 50%, because then I have the greatest amount of range in which I can then either increase by 50% or decrease by 50%, whatever the mix is. And I don't know why people think that there's any other acceptable way for the default audio levels to be in a game.
I wonder.
Like, it helps me nothing at all if the voice sound is at 100% by default, and then I go and play the game and the voices are too quiet. Because then all I can do is potentially turn down the music and the sound effects and then run the audio through an amplifier, either through software or through an actual surround sound amplifier to get louder volume. Similarly, it helps you nothing if the volume is at 1% in the voice and you find it's still too loud, because that's almost potentially impossible to fix, because then you have to turn down the audio on every external volume control you can find, and it gets to a level where these settings are not helpful. Here we go.
Minions, servants, soldiers of the cold dark, obey the call.
Trouble?
Yes, yes!
Trouble?
I think we've played enough here.
All the while.
So let's go ahead and end this. Yeah. Didn't really have a lot to say today, of course. I did most of my talking yesterday, but we got it done. So, back in 3 days, unless something happens, with 3 more daily quests, and we will do the Tavern Brawl then too, unless I miss it, which if I do miss it, that sucks. We are at 9,505 gold, so we are right where I'd like to be, since we haven't even gotten an announcement of a new expansion. There is, I think, something here where they were saying you get some extra Unguru packs if you buy some. But now would not be the time to buy Unguru packs, for me at least. I haven't totally hated the expansion of Unguru. The idea of quests is certainly interesting. Maybe in some desperate plea, if Unguru packs stop, when they start to be the oldest ones available for sale, maybe I'll try to go back and get the legendaries then, the quest legendaries, but right now I'm saving up for the next expansion. That's it for the stream. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.